now for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for today. Here's what's happening. Y'all all know why I'm doing this today, right? Yes. I'm here to weigh in on the Lebron James, Charles Barkley soap opera. I have made no bones about why I don't like the Today BA. Why I call it the Today BA. And I'll go into more detail about why I call the NBA the Today BA or the new BA some other time. But I did want to weigh in on this soap opera. For whatever reason, and it's not just this LeBron James, Charles Barkley thing, it's an accumulation of. For whatever reason, there are people out there who are so sold on what they're seeing on TV. Now, look, listen, I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong. I grew up on this game. Yes, I'm a traditionalist. I'll admit that. I'm old school. But some things are never better than their predecessors. Just because the game is different today, many would imply in saying that it's better, and it's not. And this dude, the Queen, is the face of a league that most people might try to say because of the money in the new TV contracts that this is that's what makes it better. They must be doing something right if it's making money. No. That don't mean nothing. Not everything is data driven. Because everything is so data driven, that's what's connected to the money. But data driven does not equal substance. Sensational does not equal substance. Stats don't equal substance. There's no way in the world you could turn a game on right now. Pick any game, any matchup. Even for all you new millennials who think today's game is just so uncomparable to any other game in years past. But listen here, this game that y'all watching today, that y'all so in love with, that y'all say it's all this and all that and bag of chips and sell proclamations and collar popping and all of that, guess what? It had to come from somewhere. It ain't no different than these young kids out here today. And I'm not talking basketball. I'm talking about just in life, every day. These kids, they talk to their parents any old kind of way. They act like that their parents just happen to wake up and be their parents that day. Like y'all the ones, these young kids anyway, like y'all the ones that invented this and invented that. You had to know where you was coming from in order to know where you're at to see where you was going. So in other words, this new league or this new BA or the Today BA, it didn't just pop up yesterday. You can't dismiss what it once was as if though what it is now, what it once was never was. Y'all get that? It's almost akin to, just philosophically, people saying, "Oh, the Martin Luther King, what they stood for, that don't matter today. We doing it this way today." No, it's a reason why we got Black History Month. Now, why it's in February, I have no idea, but I digress. My point is, it's a history involved, and you can't dismiss the history involved. It's no way in the world you're going to turn the tube on. And again, I am a traditionalist. Yes, I am. Some things are never better than their predecessors. And this game today is not, it's not better than its predecessors. Yeah, it may be making more money. The players may be bigger. They may be stronger. They may be faster, but they're not as durable, and they're surely not better. Yes, has the game changed? Mm-hmm. It had to because of the rule change. But answer me this question for all you lovers of the Today BA who only see one side of the coin, which is what I'm going to keep saying and continue to say, that this is a two-way street. Fair exchange ain't no robbery. It's a two-way street. It's a double-sided coin here. It's two sides of every coin. There ain't no wooden nickels and double-sided nickels and no. If this game that's different, and when people say the game is different as if to imply that it's better, answer me this. When a player or team's three-point percentage outweighs its free throw percentage, how does that make it better? Why? Because they taking the big man and stretching him out to the floor, but he ain't coming back in? If the interior portion of the game today is irrelevant, then I think we should all put forth and sign a petition saying take the paint area out the game. It shouldn't be no discoloration of the floor in any arena, on any court, anywhere. It should just be a three-point line and a hoop. Let's go get it. Or how many times you can go look at a player, for instance, I'm going to pick this guy, Tim Hardaway. One of the guys who was, when y'all talk about big three, in Golden State. He played for the Miami Heat as well, but when he was at Golden State, Run TMC. He was the head of the Run TMC. They ran up and down the floor, up and down the floor, up and down the floor. But guess what? How many times do you see in today's game the ball touching the floor? Guys, now they advance the ball by pounding the ball into the floor. Guys back then didn't do that because it was a skill set. Nowadays it's all athleticism. Well, what this got to do with what Barkley and Lebron said? It's got everything to do with it. It's these privileged, I'm not going to use that word, but these cats that's privileged and think the way they doing it, whatever, oh, can't nobody touch me because I'm this and I'm that. He, the queen, self-proclaimed, I'm the best player on the planet. Well, then that puts you in a different stratosphere other than any other player in the game today. So you're going to be assessed or analyzed as the best player in the game. Then we'll deal with everybody else secondary. I've never in my life since watching the game seen so many players who are supposed to be this and that they need a pick set before they can score. And let me say this too. Okay, ain't no hand checking. Because we're talking about the league and the league that this dude represents, the league that he's the face of. The league I grew up watching. From a cultural standpoint, I'm not saying that part was better. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I like to see, the scripping and scraping and scrapping. I like to see a guy that had to fight for. Just at the end of the day, the cats who was less privileged was just more raw. The cats had to fight for in order to score. They had to go through something and get them scores every point. When the ball was inbounded, the game I grew up watching, when the ball was inbounded, you had a defender right there in that offensive player's zip code. As soon as the ball was inbounded, they made you, even if they didn't or wasn't lockdown defenders in the backcourt, you got picked up in the backcourt. Nowadays, you see a guy like LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Athletic ability, that's not my issue. I'm not questioning none of that. But by the time somebody on defense picks these guys up, they already at the free throw line. So this game today is better. How? It's not. And again, where in the world do you see on display defense being played to the tune or to go along with or in conjunction with a guy being possibly named as the regular season MVP? You find me any MVP, even in this modern era, where somehow defense or some sort of defensive acumen was not attached to a guy playing or guy being an MVP, a season MVP. Show me. You can't. But see, the three done clouded everybody's judgment. Everybody done got selective about what they see when they watch TV. Turn the volume off. Put it on mute. That way you're not being distracted by what's being announced when the game is being played. You understand? So you can see it the way it need to be said. Ain't no way in the world James Harden should be in the running for no MVP because he only played one side of the floor. A basketball court, in particular NBA court, is 94 feet. So let's stop and think about this for a minute. You're giving a guy credit for being an MVP because he don't play 94 feet. Because he can stir the pot. And he practically came out and told you it ain't about defense no more. And what I was saying earlier about defense initially, okay, it's no more hand checking. But what that got to do with you moving your feet? You can still move your feet. I get it. The emphasis is now on points being scored. Which brings me to my point about this queen. I forget the game in question, but it couldn't have been maybe 4 or 5 games ago. You know, the Cavs are on they were on a 6-game, 7-game, whatever it was, slide. They had taken some L's. So this dude comes out talking about we need another playmaker. What you mean? Playmaker, first of all, I want somebody to please explain to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but when you say playmaker, be specific. Or as the kindergartners might say, be Pacific. What you mean you need another playmaker? You're the best player on the planet. You're not Gordon Hayward. You're not Russell Westbrook. You're not Kawhi Leonard. Comparatively speaking to you, of course, second and third tier players maybe. And then you come out again, you come out and say you in other words, it's me and then it's everybody else. So what you mean you need another playmaker? Or playmaker to do when you say playmaker, you mean you saying you want the Warriors hat when they got Durant? Which I still think is a farce. But everybody all up in the hoot and holler and the hoot and nanny about the Cavs and the Warriors. It ain't about what neither one of these teams do in the regular season. As a whole, this product that the NBA is, even during the Jordan era, the difference being between the eras, Jordan being the head at that era and LeBron being the head of this era, going into a season, if you were a fan, you still didn't know who was going to win it all. There was intrigue. Man, you look at the NBA this season, before the season even starts, you already know it's either the Spurs, Warriors, or the Cavs. Where's the intrigue? And I'm going to use a football analogy. Yep, I love analogies. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, when the San Francisco 49ers were at the peak of their dominance or whatever, we know they was doing their thing. And the Giants. When the Giants and the 49ers met up in the playoffs, you'd be hard pressed to say you could make a prediction, but not after 5 or 6, 7 hours of sweating. And if you was a betting man and you went to bet money on one of them, and when you went to hand your money to a bookie, you handed it to him. He got one hand on it, and you got your other hand on it. He pulling and you pulling. You really don't want to come up off them because you really ain't sure. Because both teams there was a competitive balance, which is absent in today's BA. So miss me with that. This guy and that guy and this guy's better than that. And could this guy have played then and that guy played then and all of that? Man, if you the best on the planet, not the best in Chicago, not the best in New York, not the best on your block, you the best on the planet. Handle it. You just won a title the year before. Now, it ain't NBA standards, but basketball, period, regardless of the level. If you had won your league championship the year before, you don't care what the other team is adding. You don't care. You're like, they got to come see me. They got to come see us. We need another playmaker. After Kyrie dropped 49? You got to be kidding me. Then he had the nerve, this queen, to rip the Cavs front office. Now, granted, I am not in favor of Dan Gilbert and the Cavs for a whole lot of other reasons, but we'll talk about that some other time. Right now, we're talking about right is right and wrong got to be addressed. For all you delusional Cavs fans, because they just won. All y'all that got your little championship rings out the vending machines. He going to rip the Cavs front office for not bringing in more talent, so to speak. A playmaker, in his words, again, as he put it. So Barkley, in this instance, Chittlin Charles, as I like to call him, he done said a lot of stuff that you'd be like, oh, man, he need to shut up. So I don't disagree with that. Not everything that come out of Chittlin Charles' mouth is worth repeating. But in this case, it is. You might not like him. You might not like the stuff he said, Chittlin Charles, that is. But what he said in this instance, he was right. It wasn't personal. It was about basketball. It was, as Charles used it, and I didn't even know Charles could use this word, inappropriate. LeBron's comments to management. I challenge anybody to first of all, get out of your fandom. You understand? A lot of y'all out there is too old to be emotionally fandomized to the point where you're setting reality aside. It was inappropriate. Because as a teammate, and then why do you think Tristan Thompson came out and said what he said? Now, you know, some people putting it's for whatever reason, man. It's always about the money, man. Too many people are superficial and materialistic. Oh, he ain't worth $2. How you know what he worth? You wouldn't be saying that if you was in his shoes. Yet I use if. When it comes to these owners and these sports franchises and players getting paid, that's separate from every player, regardless of color, creed, nationalities, deserve their monies. And you all, the fans that speak out on this, you all are so indoctrinated. Y'all let the media reporting on this, had y'all talking about this as a subject matter over at the water cooler, if y'all still doing that, instead of talking about the guy who able to afford to give the player that money. Like I mentioned in a couple shows, or a few shows ago, the talk shouldn't be about Tristan Thompson and whether he worth whatever he is, because on that team, he is worth it. It should be about Dan Gilbert, who is a billionaire 5 times over, asking taxpayers in the city of Cleveland that the city of Cleveland said no to when it comes to a minimum wage increase for $140 million for a Q renovation. Again, all y'all out there in y'all's fandom, caught up in the emotion, y'all better get up and feed y'all's kids. Ain't nothing wrong with being in the sports. Y'all need a reality check, though. Too old for this. Because I know everybody out there is older than 10. And LeBron's response, I'm not going to let him disrespect my legacy like that. Okay. How is he disrespecting your legacy? When again, because anybody that's really, if they really want to get to the bottom of the crux of all of this, go back and look at this Queen's history in the league, the 14 years that he's so proudly putting out there. Okay, go back and look at the history of this dude. The time against Atlanta, when he was here the first time in Cleveland, when he bumped Mike Brown, very disrespectful to his coach. Talking about he done represented the league. No, you don't do that. You sending a message, the wrong message. Or when he bumped Eric Spoelstra when he was in Miami. Or down 15 in the closeout game against the Spurs, he go and sit down on the bench and start crying. I'm not going to let him disrespect my legacy like that. I'm not the one who threw somebody through a window. I never spit on a kid. I never had unpaid debt in Las Vegas. Never said I'm not a role model. I never showed up to All-Star Weekend on a Sunday because I was in Vegas all weekend partying. What the hell in hockey sticks do that got to do with you throwing your teammates under the bus once again? It is funny to me. Funny to me. Baffling, befuddling, how he ain't never got no help. When dudes who he being compared to ain't had nearly as much help as he done had, but he always need more. It is so baffling to me that when the Cavs win, and this is an ongoing thing, this thing been going on for how long? Every time when the Cavs win, it's him. When the Cavs don't win, or when they struggling or whatever the case may be, it ain't nobody else. It's everybody else but him. All I've done my entire career is represent the NBA the right way. How? How? By saying you still in Jordan's shadow. Man, listen, to every young ball player out there who got some sort of wherewithal, don't try to be the next guy. Now, go do what the next guy did to be you. You know, I said to my son, he asked me one time, can we get a Kyrie jersey? I said, yeah, but we'll get 2 of them. Huh? Yeah, we'll get 2 of them. One, we'll get with his name and number, of course. See if we can get him to autograph it. Put it in a frame. That'll be your college tuition. The other one, we'll get with no name, just a number, and we'll put your name on the back of it. Now, how am I wrong for saying that? Because I'm sending my son a message. Do you know your worth? I'm so glad Tristan Thompson came out and said, look, man, because he basically said in so many words, man, this dude keep throwing us under the bus. All them extra possessions that Tristan Thompson got. Yeah, listen, it's a lot about Tristan's game. I cannot stand being a traditionalist, a purist. No jump shot, at least mid-range, at least. But I tell you something that Tristan got that the Queen ain't got, or that we've seen the Queen be guilty of, and that's effort. Yeah, well, you know, he had a bad game. It's always an excuse when it come to this dude, when it don't work out. But see, my thing is this. If you need a playmaker when it ain't going good, then the same should be true or should have been true when it is going good. What you go get Kyle Korver for? You should have told him, we need a playmaker. Now, I'm not saying there shouldn't be moves made when it comes to a team or a team making the moves when you don't have this or when you don't have that. But you still got your nucleus in place. And you got enough coming off that bench that with you being you better than everybody else, the closest person to you or anybody else connected to you is a distant 40th, should be more than enough. Any other player of your stature, of your ilk, when they got one guy, just one, next to them that dropped 49 in a game, would have been cool with that. You make everybody else better? How is my question. Maybe I'm missing something. Somebody out there can answer me. Please tell me. Email us, theshopreport365@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook at The Shop Report. Let me know. You need a playmaker. All I've done my entire career is represent the NBA the right way. 14 years, never got in trouble, respected the game. Print that. And then Dwayne Wade. Man, I lost so much respect for him. Got the nerve to come on and say, I'm glad he finally spoke up. Spoke up? What you mean? What you mean? I thought all this kind of action was supposed to be kept in-house and so on and so forth. He going to the media. As did you, Wade. Not saying I'm a fan of going to the media because you know they looking for fodder. They don't care about you. They don't care about none. They looking for it's sweeps week. That's what's on their mind every time they get this little stuff they get from the players. It's always about sweeps week. Wade need to sit down and be quiet because he himself went to the media when you ain't supposed to. So what credibility in this instance do you have? Because y'all boys. Listen, I'm not going to say my boy, my son, anybody I know, love, care about you right just for this because you related to me. Again, I tell my kids all the time. Yes, I love y'all what? No question. But if you're doing wrong, you need to be doing right. Because if I got to come up to the school on your behalf and I find out that you was in the wrong, you got to deal with it. A lot of y'all out here, well, that's my boy, but he always be starting stuff, but that's my boy. That's idiotic. You can't find no fault. Ain't no fault in it because why? Because he your cousin? That's your road dog? Man, too many of these cats is being raised by their mamas. No offense. The kind of mamas nowadays, I ain't talking about them kind that raised Isaiah Thomas. Them kind that had backbone. I'm talking about these kind right here. The kids come home, they sons that is. Oh, I don't need no man in my life. I get the sons come home. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? With D's on his report card, but he walking around here in brand new J's and Beats audio. Oh, well, he didn't mean it. Man, sit down. That's what it sound like. This is coming from. What Barkley did in Barkley's career was foul. Spitting on the kid, all that was foul. But like I said, and Barkley himself said, yes, all that stuff is true about me. But that don't mean what I said about it was what Barkley said was strictly basketball. LeBron made it personal. Why? Forgive me, mama. Because he pink cookies in a plastic bag being crushed by buildings. That's why. Did the Cavs win a title with him at the helm? Yes, they did. Which is all the more reason why this Loserville mentality here in Cleveland should have been dismissed after 52 years. Here it is, after all of this time, you get what you've been longing for. You should have been let it go, but you don't want to, though. Only in Cleveland. Only in Cleveland. This Bass-Ackworth town. I cannot get over that, man. Ain't no way in the world you should come out to the public or to the media and say nothing about what these dudes that's playing with you is grinding with you, fighting with you. And another thing Barkley said about what Tristan coming out and saying something. Yeah, a lot of them other dudes, they intimidated. Why? Too many. And I said this from day one about this dude. First of all, he's not authentic. I don't care what nobody say. You want to challenge me on it? Come on with it. But the way he is revered in this city is borderline sacrilegious. Ain't no such thing as no basketball god. Y'all better get up out y'all's fandom. Y'all done heard me say it before, and I'm going to keep on saying it. When I was 10, it was okay for me to be all up in my fandom. I ain't know no better. Wasn't no wherewithal. Shoot, when the Browns lost in 1980 to the Raiders, man, oh my gosh. I looked at the newspaper all day the next day, all day, thinking somehow, some ways, because I didn't pray. It was my fault. But now that I'm grown, and I get up and feed my kids. A playmaker to do what? To score more? The Cavs in the top 5 in scoring. They don't need no more playmakers because they have the quote-unquote playmaker of them all. Since you make everybody else better, for the guys that ain't playmakers what Chris Paul did for Tyson Chandler. Go look at what Tyson Chandler did from a production standpoint before Chris Paul, with Chris Paul, and after Chris Paul. That to me is when I say when a guy's making somebody else better. Or he allows everybody to play their positions. What you mean when he got the ball in his hand all the time? And it ain't that y'all need playmakers, Cavs. Y'all need to stop somebody. Everything is predicated on offense. Playmaker. Why don't you stop the other team from making plays? How about that? Scoring 112, 13, 14, 15 points in a game is more than enough to win. But when you give up 115, 119, 120, how your playmaker going to help you solve that? Oh, or did you mean playmaker on defense? Why not hit him with the chase down block? You under dig? I think it's asinine, disrespectful to the cats grinding next to you. Yeah, it's been said, it's LeBron's league. He get what he want. That's fine. That ain't what I'm talking about. But it's 14 other cats, man, that play right there next to you. That you being disrespectful to. Talking about you need another playmaker. Go sit down, boo. And to come back at Charles, maybe in another instance, it would have been all right. But to hear Shaq even, man, they need another playmaker. They do that anytime you're trying to go for two. Come on, man. Then you really ultimately saying that this dude that y'all lauding ain't what he's supposed to be. Because a guy who's innovative, a guy who really is the guy that y'all say is, he said, give me any, it don't matter what I got to give you, I'm going to make it work. And that's all the more reason. Give me a challenge. That's all the more reason. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, who don't think it's going to be the Cavs and the Warriors again in the finals? Who don't? Give me the challenge of the Warriors stacking their roster. And I don't have that playmaker. And I got what I got. And we still win. Now what? Can't nobody say nothing. Who gonna have something to say? Matter of fact, that would be all the more reason to then have something to say in a good way. Man, Brown didn't have nearly what the Warriors had, and they still won. Which I say, even with Durant, the Warriors are not what everybody think they are. Because there's something about that round robin. There's something about that postseason. There's something about the playoffs. There's something about a tournament that is so totally contrary to a regular season. Now, there are things that you do in the regular season that can go, that translate to a postseason. But you're not bringing the entire bag. You got to put on a different hat when you go from a regular season to a postseason. Because we all know, despite all of the fanfare and the points and the triple digits and all of that, the game slow down in the playoffs. Always been that way, regardless of the era. Got to have an inside game. Always been that way, regardless of the era. The 3-point line is now being shot for average, or cats are shooting threes for average. Whereas when it was first instituted, I don't know the year, but maybe in the 80s, whatever, late 70s, whatever the case may be, it was shot strategically. And it just, again, man, it's blowing my mind how cats be missing a point, man. Talking about some, man, you see he put up 39, 3,410, 14, and 14. Yeah, because he took 5 million shots. It ain't even about efficiency no more. It's all about how many a guy score. Man, I look, don't roll up on me in your new Dodge Viper or whatever the case may be, and it's sounding good, run, but doing everything you can. So you ain't gonna have me sold just on the look and the rims and the sound. Me, I'm gonna ask you, let me look under the hood. Whereas most people, they just get caught up in the material. Like, ooh, you see what he driving? Ooh, you see what he got? Ooh, you see what he shot? Nah, because a lot of times if you peel back the top layer, you're going to see it was a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower engine up on that. He just had a K&N filter on it. So at the end of the day, man, miss me. I don't want to hear nothing else about what nobody got to say. If you are what ain't nobody else in the league is, then handle your biz. Handle your biz. Mr. Football Player. Because we all know if you're playing football, you got to have a toughness. You got to have a mentality that is absent in any other sport. Well, maybe except for professional bull riding. I don't know where that mentality come from, but I digress. Go get it done, son. And stop talking. Stop crying. You don't like how you being reffed. You don't like what they saying to you. You don't like nothing. You don't like this. You don't like that. You don't like this. You don't like that. Well, guess what? It's a lot of people that go to work every day at 9 to 5 jobs. They don't like it either. But they go. You see? Because they got responsibility. Super Bowl 50. The New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. First off, let me say congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons for doing what the Cleveland Browns never will. Well, I can't say that. Let me take a chill pill. I'm not about to give you a prediction. Okay, yeah, maybe I am. But I'll say this. Statistically, and you know how I am when it comes to statistics, I'm not saying that they don't have no place, because they do. But for whatever reason, this analytics then took over, man, what we seeing. Oh, he's got a 9.2537459 If you know what I mean. Man, go and find your spleen. The numbers do have a place. the Falcons were in the top 5 in just about every category. But I mentioned this to y'all a couple weeks ago. The Falcons were in the top 5 in just about every category that there was or is this season. Matt Ryan is definitely playing like an MVP. His ball distribution and just the schemes that they use offensively, they are well balanced. That translates to the playoffs. Now, will the bright lights and not having been there before play a part? Who knows? But if you stick to what you do, then the outcome may go in favor for you. When it comes to the Patriots and it's Tom Brady, no, he's not the GOAT. Not in my estimation. But that's a story for another day. But no disrespect to the Patriots in what they do. Their resume is legit. Not knocking it. But again, if you're asking me to assess or to analyze, whether it's a team, player, whatever the case may be, don't come to me with half the evidence or circumstantial evidence. Because that's almost like straddling the fence. And if you're a man out there, you know that don't feel good. No. Do Tom Brady distribute the ball? Yes. Has he been doing it a while? Yes. Do he have experience? Yes. Do the Patriots have experience? Yes. Do the Patriots have number 1 defense in the league? Yes. All those things matter. They got Super Bowl experience? Yes. But it depends in the outcome, I think, on whether or not if you're a conspiracy theorist or, if you think this stuff is completely left up to chance, because it's not. But we've all seen teams. Again, I'm not knocking the Patriots and what they do. I'm saying to you that we've seen cases where the analytics don't always give us the end result. Shoot, the Dallas Cowboys was 13-3 this year and got bounced out. No disrespect. I like Dak and Zeke. I do. I honestly believe this one is a toss-up. I really do. I personally like the Falcons because I just think that they have more to throw. And then they got Julio Jones now. Okay? Yeah. He's the Atlanta Falcons Gronk, as he is to the Patriots and Tom Brady. And we all know Marshawn Lynch should have got the ball at the 1, but I'm just saying. Right? Because had he, we might be talking about a different story here in terms of resume. But I'm just saying. So, yeah, I do. I like the Atlanta Falcons in this one. Because I think they just have more to throw at the Patriots defense. Because Bill Belichick is good now when it comes to taking away that thing that you do best. But here's the thing. At least this season, the Atlanta Falcons have proven they do everything the best. Now, for a score, I'm not going to give you no more. 31-17, if you know what I mean. And on that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening to the Shop Report. Check us out on social media at the Shop Report or email us theshopreport365@gmail.com. And if that don't work, Google it. I'm Barbershop Jay. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla.